Welcome back to Lost Chapters, where forgotten history breathes again. Today, we uncover a chapter few truly understand, an invasion that looked like a military conquest, but was actually a political stunt. This is the untold story of the Roman invasion of Britain. 43 AD, Lost Chapters presents the Roman invasion of Britain, 43 AD. But before we sail into the invasion, let's rewind. Almost a century earlier, in 55 and 50 for BC, Julius Caesar made two short-lived landings in Britain. Though he claimed victory, he never stayed. No Roman rule was established, just a few tribal alliances, and then he left. Fast forward to 43 AD. The Roman Empire is vast, stretching from the Atlantic to the deserts of Syria. But Emperor Claudius, newly crowned and underestimated by his own people, needs a triumph to prove his strength. And Britain becomes his stage. This was the excuse Claudius needed. Tribal kings rule scattered territories, constantly in conflict with each other. Rome saw opportunity in that chaos. Britain, at the time, was seen as wild, mystical, and rich in resources. But most importantly, it was divided. Many believed they were being sent beyond the world, into the mists, monsters, and death. The official trigger, Boudica, a friendly king of the Atrebates tribe, fled Britain and begged Rome to restore him to power. The troops finally obeyed, ashamed that a freedman had more courage than they did. And so, in spring of 43 AD, he ordered a full invasion. Always Plautius, a seasoned general, led around for legions over 40,000 soldiers across the English Channel. But the invasion almost failed before it began. The Roman troops, mostly stationed in Gaul, refused to board the ships. It took a Roman commander, Narcissus, to give a rousing speech, and then the sails went up. Rome was coming for Britain. Romans got ready for Britain. The Roman armada sliced through the foggy waters of the English Channel, braving unpredictable tides. Their target, the coastlines of southeastern Britain, the heart of the Catu-Velloni tribes' domain. But the landing wasn't simple. Once ashore, the Romans split into divisions, pushing inland to establish a foothold. They expected fierce resistance, and they got it. The local tribes, especially the Catu-Velloni, led by brothers Caratacus and Togodumnus, were ready. These weren't mere villagers. They were hardened warriors, mounted, fierce, and deeply protective of their land. The first major clash happened near the river Medway. British warriors charged on foot and chariots, using guerrilla tactics. The Britons were caught off guard. For 2 bloody days, the Romans fought in unfamiliar, marshy terrain, and then Rome adapted, Aulus Plautius used a clever trick. He ordered his German auxiliary troops, trained for rivers, to swim across and attack from the flank. Victory wasn't easy. The Romans suffered losses, but the Britons fell back. Togodumnus was killed, a devastating blow to morale. Caratacus, now alone in command, retreated north to regroup. He arrived in Britain weeks after the main battles, flanked by war elephants and elite Praetorian guards. This turning point paved the way for something grand. Claudius, who had stayed behind, now made his theatrical move, not for war, but for a triumph. With little resistance left in the south, he received the submission of 11 British kings, a pre-planned Roman publicity stunt. Then he left, returning to Rome with a victory to cement his rule. Back home, Claudius declared he had added Britain to the Roman Empire. He was given a triumphal arch, coins with elephants stamped on them, and divine honors. But on the ground, the real work had just begun. Aulus Plautius and the Roman legions began transforming the landscape. They built fortresses, roads, and new Roman cities, including one that would later be called Londinium, today London. But not all Britons submitted. Caratacus fled west, into the highlands of Wales, rallying new tribes to resist. And so, while Rome declared Britain conquered, the war had just begun. Caratacus, the surviving leader of the British resistance, refused to surrender. While the Romans celebrated victory in Rome, he slipped into the mountainous regions of Wales, gathering tribes disillusioned with Roman promises. There, in the wild lands of the Scillias and Ordovices, he built a guerrilla movement. And tribal warriors gathered around a fire. The Romans may have claimed southern Britain, but they couldn't hold it without a fight. For nearly 9 years, Caratacus and his followers struck from the shadows, ambushing convoys, attacking forts, and burning Roman supply lines. He became a symbol of rebellion, earning respect from friend and foe alike. Meanwhile, the Romans pushed deeper. They built a massive road network to move legions quickly, including Watling Street, a road that still exists beneath parts of modern Britain. But no matter how far they built or how many forts they razed, they couldn't catch Caratacus until one day they did. In 51 AD, after a decade of defiance, Caratacus chose to make a final stand in what he believed was an impenetrable mountain stronghold, possibly in modern-day Shropshire. The Roman general Publius Ostorius Scapula launched a full assault. Despite heroic resistance, the superior discipline and siege tactics of the Romans broke through. Caratacus's dream was crushed. He was betrayed by the Brigantes tribe and handed over to the Romans in chains. But his story didn't end on the battlefield. Caratacus was taken to Rome and paraded as a defeated enemy. Normally, that meant execution. But what happened next stunned the empire. He said, "I fought for my people. I ask not for mercy, but for understanding." Standing before Claudius, Caratacus delivered a defiant speech. Had my success been equal to my nobility and courage, Rome itself would tremble before me. That speech saved his life. The emperor was so moved. A barbarian rebel, granted mercy by the most powerful man in the world. It was an ending no one expected, and a reminder that even Rome could admire its enemies. Caratacus vanished into Roman records after his pardon, but his story had lit a flame. Back in Britain, the Roman grip grew tighter. New governors imposed taxes, enforced tribute, and pushed Roman culture and religion onto the tribes. What had begun as conquest was now becoming colonization. Rome brought roads, aqueducts, amphitheaters, even literacy and coinage. But it also brought slavery, loss of identity, and humiliation to the native people. Over the next decades, Britain transformed into a Roman province. Major cities like Camulodunum, Colchester, and Verulamium, St. Albans rose, and Londinium, founded as a Roman commercial hub, flourished. But under the surface, resentment boiled. The seeds of rebellion were growing, especially in the east, where the Iceni tribe, once allies of Rome, were pushed too far. Their queen, a woman who would become legend, was watching. Her name was Boudica. Though that rebellion would erupt later, its roots were planted in the Roman conquest itself, in the death of warriors like Togodumnus, in the betrayal of Caratacus, and in the forced submission of proud tribes. The Roman invasion may have appeared as a triumph, but to many Britons, it was a slow-burning invasion of the soul. And so ends another lost chapter, but the echoes of that invasion still walk beneath the streets of modern Britain. Coins, ruins, names, even roads. History is not buried. It's just waiting to be found.